Hello, my name is Udaya Karunaratne and I am the general manager of Palmyra House. This is a beautiful hotel situated in the island of Mannar in the northern province, and I live and work here, and it's a most amazing place to live in. The island of Mannar is Sri Lanka's largest island. It's about 30 kilometers in length and about 5 kilometers wide, and it's situated in the northern province on the northern western coast of Sri Lanka. The island of Mannar is only about 25 kilometers directly across the Pork Straits to India, and there is a so-called land bridge, a collection of about 16 islands that spans the straits from the island of Mannar to the island of Pamban across India. And the proximity to the landmass of India gives Mannar a unique climate and a unique environment. Is considered part of the arid zone of Sri Lanka, or one of the two arid zones of Sri Lanka. And Mannar receives very little rainfall in relation to the rest of Sri Lanka, and it has dry, desiccating winds, which together with the rainfall give Mannar a unique set of flora and fauna which is not to be encountered anywhere else in the island of Sri Lanka. Very little of Mannar is known in general to the public of Sri Lanka simply because of its distance away from the main city centers. But what's key is that the civilization of contemporary civilization of Sri Lanka began from the environs of Mannar. There is also a 2,000-year-old temple, a Buddhist temple. So the legendary pearls of Aripu and the great trading post and the port city of Manthai, which was the most important seaport in all of Asia at that time. All of this is situated in Mannar. So Mannar is hugely significant in terms of the history of the civilization of Sri Lanka. To live and work in a place like this, it's a real privilege, and it's the most fantastic place to work in. And I will go on further to show what other great things that Mannar can offer to travelers. One of the greatest wonders of the natural world is the phenomena of the migration of birds. At certain times of the year, closer to the end of the year, for example, starting from about the month of October through to the month of March and into April, the temperatures in the northern hemisphere plummet and the climate changes drastically. Birds living in those countries find it exceedingly difficult to survive. The very short daylight hours, lack of food, extremely cold temperatures dictate that the birds move away from those regions. And these birds, millions and millions of them, hundreds of different species, make their way down from the cold countries down to the tropical belt that spans the globe. And if we take Asia and India in particular, these birds funnel themselves down to the Indian subcontinent and further down around the Himalayan mountain massif to the southern region of India, and then on to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is land's end for these birds that make their way down to our island. On arrival in Sri Lanka, they find abundant food supply, almost 12 hours of daylight, and security, and abundant space for them to live out this time in comfort and in security. Now, if you take Sri Lanka, the position of Sri Lanka, geographical position of Sri Lanka to India is such that birds find it very convenient to hop across over the landmass from India across the channel, the Pork Straits, the channel of water separating the two countries. In particular reference to Mannar, Sand Keys, or what is referred to as Adam's Bridge, the islands connecting India to Sri Lanka, a lot of birds find it very convenient to come across this land bridge. And so during this migration, with millions and millions of birds, dozens and dozens of species, wend their way across the land bridge and over the Pork Straits onto Sri Lanka. Most of these, or a great many of these birds, make their landfall in Mannar and settle down in Mannar to spend the winter period in Mannar. Now, when it comes to Mannar, unlike a lot of other places in Sri Lanka, has a lot of positives for the bird. Vast open lagoon, very shallow in depth, which is perfect for birds such the waders and the shorebirds and the water birds. Abundant food supply and 12-hour daylight hours, which translates to feeding time. And of course, the security that the island of Mannar and in general Sri Lanka offers animals. Mannar is arguably the best location of all of Sri Lanka to observe these migrant birds, particularly the waders and the shorebirds and the water birds. This massive increase in the numbers of birds, starting from about September onwards, is truly a sight to behold. Every year we look forward to the arrival of those stately birds, the magnificent flamingos that fly from Gujarat or northwestern India to Sri Lanka and settle down in Mannar. Mannar is one of the very few places that the flamingos come and settle down and spend their time. Magnificent birds by their thousands. We also talk about clouds of ducks, 30, 40,000 birds all gathered together, offering a magnificent spectacle. We talk about birds such as the little stint. Now the little stint is a bird slightly smaller than a sparrow, and these birds breed in the high Arctic, in the Arctic Circle. And for such a small bird to travel all the way across thousands and thousands of kilometers, braving any number of dangers, and to make landfall in a country like Sri Lanka is just absolutely amazing. The wonders of the migration of birds is something truly, truly fascinating. And despite the advances of mankind in technological terms and scientific terms, we still know very little about this phenomena.